The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
Close your eyes and pull like a dog.
And a new Irish record for Phil Healy, 22.99.
Christy Cooney hands over the Sam Maguire Cup to Graham Canty, Cork All-Ireland champions for the 7th time ever.
Hello and welcome once again to another episode of the Star Sport podcast. I'm your host Matthew Hurley and I'm joined today, as always, by Star Sport editor Kieran McCarthy. The Star Sport podcast is brought to you in association with our friends at Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, where your bank really does matter. Choose Credit Union, choose local, choose community. Now later on in the show we will be previewing the upcoming instalment of the Beamish Cup. It is a staple of the West Cork soccer calendar, and the 2025 edition is sure to bring as much thrills and spills as in previous seasons. But first we will discuss some recent stories that are taking the headlines in West Cork this week, and no better place to start here than a yearly thing that does happen with the Southern Star in general, and that is the West Cork Sports Awards for 2024. And two award winners were announced over the Christmas and New Year period as well. So we'll talk a bit about those first of all. So the nominee named as Club of the Year was Clonakilty Rugby Club. Congratulations to them, obviously. Why were they named as Club of the Year, Kieran?
Clonakilty Rugby Club, they're doing so many things right on and off the pitch, Matthew. They're just I suppose they're the kind of perfect example of a club that's run very well. If you look at, let's say, on the pitch for a second, they've almost 750 members. You know, they've almost 700 underage members between boys and girls, which is an incredible number. There's like a 150 strong team of volunteers that run the club. So it's just an example of a club that's run really, really well. And it's even the talking about underage with Clonakilty Rugby Club, the ethos that they have in terms of the minutes that they want to give boys and girls, the game time that they want to give them. They have so many numbers at some ages that they have two teams, red and green. They've also had success too in both boys and girls over recent times as well. And you look it up at adult level, then the men's team is up in Division 1. They resurrected their women's team as well. Kind of off the pitch, they're involved in a load of different initiatives that kind of push the club, you know. So it's just been they were kind of a standout kind of a candidate for us for the Club of the Year. So really well deserved.
Exactly. So, and another award winner was announced in the last few weeks as well, and that was the Paddy Palmer Youth Award winner, and that was named as kickboxer Oren Brady. Congratulations to him, obviously. Why did Oren Brady get the award this year, Kieran?
Oren is a extremely talented young sports person. So kickboxing is obviously huge in West Cork. We have a couple of kickboxing clubs, and Oren fights out of Ion Kickboxing Club, which is over in kind of Bantry to Castletown there, and it's actually run by his father Bernard, who coaches Oren as well. And last year, Oren won 2 world titles at the WACO World Junior Kickboxing Championships that were held in Budapest. And he also was named a fighter of the championships on the mats. I think it's tatami, it's called. So in an incredible World Championships to bring home 2 world titles, that's just worthy of the award on its own. But on top of that, like, he's won 5 national titles. He won the skills striker there before Christmas, which was held in Bristol, and he won a title there as well. So he's had an extremely successful year, and he's a very talented young sports person. He's a Leaving Cert student in Clonakilty Bantry. On top of that, he played the lead role in the Grease in their school play last year. So he's a bit of a kind of a Hollywood star in the making on and off the mats. But no, Oren had a superb year. Like, and you're looking at Oren, like, his older brothers Oisin and Sean, they're both previous World Junior champions as well. And we kind of joked about it before in the podcast that they both had won world titles. I think Sean was back in 2016, Oisin was 2022. So along came Oren in 2024, and he won 2 world titles to jump to the top of the Brady Brothers Roll of Honour. But no, he's a really deserving winner of the Paddy Palmer Youth Sports Award for 24.
Exactly. So you can argue he's a jack of all trades. He's performing in school plays as well. Like brilliant for Owen Brady in general. And more award winners will be announced in the next few weeks in the Southern Star Sports Edition every week. So keep your eyes peeled for those award winners in the next few weeks. Moving on to the rugby field, and in the Munster Senior Cup knockout stage, we will have two West Cork schools competing at this stage. St Munchin's College will come up against Hamilton High School Bandon on Thursday the 16th of January in Thomond Park at 1:30 p.m. Munchin's, for context for our listeners, have won this competition 5 times, their last one in 2006, and Hammies have reached the knockout stages of this competition for the first time in their history, so a massive achievement for them. Bandon Grammar are also in the knockout stages. They play Glinstill Abbey from Limerick on Thursday the 16th of January. That's at Virgin Media Park at 2:30 p.m. and Glinstill won the whole thing in 2018. Bandon Grammar haven't won the Munster Senior Cup as of yet. So just in general here, it's great to have two West Cork schools competing at this level of rugby, especially for the likes of Hammies, who rugby's pretty new to the school, but for them to reach this stage of the Munster Senior Cup, it's a magnificent achievement.
100%, Matthew. Kind of when you think of Hamilton High School in Bandon, it's a GA school predominantly. It really is. Like, they've done great things in the curling area over the years, kind of football wise. You think of it, it's a GA school. But rugby set down roots in the Hammies in recent years. They had some success last year, but they've kicked on again this year. So for the Hammies to win their place in the first round of the Munster School Senior Boys Cup, like, that's a terrific achievement. And it means there are two schools from Bandon Town, the Hammies and Bandon Grammar, both in first round action, which is a testament, I think, to the strength of rugby in the Bandon area and its surrounding environs as well. And you have a very good piece actually in this Thursday Southern Star match with Anthony Hutchinson, who was leading that rugby charge in Hamilton High, and he makes that point too, that Cork City have two schools in the Munster Boys Senior Cup. Bandon have two schools in it as well, which is incredible, But it's also kind of, I think it shows the strength of rugby in West Cork. And we've spoken about this for years and years and years. And like we said, now to have two Bandon schools in the Munster Schools Senior Cup. But I'm looking at the Munster Schools Boys Junior Cup as well. Clonakilty Community College will be in first round action against Ardscoil Reach on January 22nd in Thomond Park. Like, when you think of Clonakilty Community College, again, you think of football, you think of GA, but their junior boys team are through to the first round as well. So it does show that rugby really is setting down roots in West Cork, and the sport is just getting stronger and stronger. Like, there's so many strong clubs spread all around from Bantry to Clonakilty, which are getting the West Cork Sports Club of the Year, to Bandon, to Skibbereen. You go up to Dunmanway, out to Kinsale, and now the schools are driving it as well. So I think it's very encouraging for rugby in the area.
And you look at Jack Crowley being one of the highest ranked number 10s in the Ireland team as well. Whether he'll start, that will remain to be seen in the Six Nations next month. But like, West Cork rugby's on an all-time high. I know we talked about it a few seasons back with John Hodnett and Gavin Coombs and Jack Crowley even doing well in Munster's win in the URC a couple of seasons back. But like, West Cork seems to be stronger than ever, not just in players playing for the province, but you look at the schools as well, you look at the clubs doing so well as well. Bandon rugby club in general, I think, are near the top of the junior league at the moment as well. So like, rugby is excelling down here.
It really is, like, kind of, when you go back a couple of years ago, where we did 16-page special just on the strength of West Cork rugby, and if you go back 10 years ago, that would have been unheard of. It's just a testament, I think, to the huge work that's going on at the grassroots level, and that's the people on the ground in the clubs and in the schools, and it's the people like Anthony Hutchinson, who you spoke to this week, kind of who are putting in that work and efforts to kind of, like in Anthony's case, to get rugby up and running in Hammies, and that's thanks to the principal in the school too. She's very open to having rugby in the school, and look now where they are. I think they have an under-16 team as well that they're going quite well. Like I said earlier, they had success last year, so that's one example of rugby growing in a traditionally kind of GA stronghold. So if that's kind of mirrored in different areas of West Cork, rugby will continue to grow and grow. And then you have, up at the highest level, you have a Jack Crowley, and think of the young boys and girls around West Cork. Kind of, the young boys want to be the next Jack Crowley, the young girls want to be the next Tinya Breen. You've Gavin Coombs there, you've Andrea Stock from Doris, kind of. And I think what's great about this story is the players are coming from all over. Like Andrea Stock from Doris, the Witchleys over in Bantry, Jack over in Inishannon, John Hodnett in Rosscarbery, you've Gavin Coombs, Liam Coombs, Skibbereen, Clonakilty, you've Keane Hurley. It's all over the area, which is great to see.
It is brilliant, and hopefully rugby will be another staple of the West Cork sporting landscape this year as well in 2025. From the rugby field to the GA field, and moving on to the Corn Uí Mhuirí, we talked about Hamilton High School as a Corn Uí Mhuirí team, and I know rugby's slowly taking over in Hammies at the moment, but their Gaelic football team is also in the Corn Uí Mhuirí quarter-final next week, where they play Public School Cork Agouin of Dingle on Wednesday the 15th of January. Now, Hammies are unbeaten in this competition. They've played 3 games, they've won 2, they only drew to their rivals Clonakilty Community College, and they won in the quarter-final of the Simcox Cup there during the semi-finals of that competition. So they've played 4 games this year across championship competitions, and they've not lost a single game. So going into this game against Public School Cork Agouin, yes, a Kerry school, they're always going to be tough in the quarter-finals, but Hammies have to be confident going into this.
Yeah, it's great. Like, it just, do you know what? It highlights the strength of sport in Hammies. Like, we talked there about rugby doing so well, but this is, like we said earlier, predominantly a GA school as well. And for the Hammies to fly the West Cork flag in the quarterfinals of the Corn Uí Mhuirí, again, it's a testament to the work going on there. Like, they'll find it tough. You know, if you're thinking of Public School Cork Agouin from Dingle, I'm looking here, they won the Corn Uí Mhuirí 6 times in the last decade alone. From 2012 up to 2019, they won it 6 times. So this is a school with a great tradition in the Corn Uí Mhuirí, and we have to look at Kerry schools too. In recent times, they just dominated this competition. You know, there's no other way of saying it. Like, they've just absolutely dominated. So Hammies have it all to do. But like you made the point there, Matthew, they're undefeated this year in championship. Like, through going well in the Simcox, obviously going well in the Corn Uí Mhuirí as well. So they should have nothing to fear. They should have nothing to fear at all. Just go out and play their game and see how far it takes them. Like, Kerry schools can't win this thing forever. You know, kind of someone's going to have to break that sequence. Someone's going to have to put up their hands and kind of cause a shock, cause a surprise. And why can't it beat the Hammies? Like, why can't the Hammies kind of beat the Dingle school next week and kind of go from there? Well, here's hoping in a way.
And there's an interview this week's Southern Star with Paddy Lorden, the Corn Uí Mhuirí manager of Hammies, in this week's Star about the game against Public School Cork Agouin, and he was saying they'd focus on their own game. But when you look at the whole landscape of the Corn Uí Mhuirí at the moment, 8 quarter-finalists, 3 from Cork, 4 from Kerry. The schools from Cork are Patricia Academy, Mallow, obviously Hamilton High School from Bandon, and St. Francis College, Rochestown, from Rochestown, obviously near the city in Cork. So, like, they're all playing Kerry. Rochestown are playing against Mercy Mount Tralee. Mallow are playing against Kenmare as well. So there's a lot of pressure on the Cork schools to deliver in this competition moving into the quarter-final stage. Do you feel that, or do you think Bandon will just focus on their own game?
I think Bandon should just focus on their own game. Kind of, you can't change history. It is what it is. And just Kerry schools have dominated. They've really dominated. I'm looking here, Clonakilty back in 2011 were the last Cork school to win the Corn Uí Mhuirí. Since then, Cork Agouin, like we said, 6 times. St. Brendan's, Killarney de Sim have won it 4 times. 3 CBS there. We've had a lot of all Kerry finals along the way as well. So this is a competition that Kerry schools have just dominated. So Cork schools have found it hard. Saying that though, St. Francis College, Rochestown did get to the final last year when they, in 2023 when they lost to the Sim. So kind of, we have seen kind of Cork schools kind of now and again kind of put their heads up, but it's just haven't been able to beat a Kerry school. So I just think for the Hammies, take it one game at a time, try and get past Dingle and take it from there. And they'll get past Dingle by focusing on their own game. And in their interview with Paddy Lorden in Thursday Star, I think he makes the point that that's what the Hammies did when they went out to play Public School in Verskena from Kenmare in the last group game. I think that was the end of November. They focused on their own game. They got the result. So hopefully history will repeat itself next week.
Exactly. So, and we talked about Kerry schools dominating the Corn Uí Mhuirí. Another competition where Kerry teams have dominated in many aspects is the Munster Junior Football Championship, but not this season. Kilmurray won it against Fieries in the Munster final this year, and the reward is an All-Ireland Junior Football Championship semi-final against Naomh Padraig of Buff in Donegal. That's on at 2 p.m. on Sunday in Parnell Park, and it's also live on the TG Car Sport YouTube channel. It's just great for Kilmurray here to be in the semi-final of this competition, and if they manage to win this game against Naomh Padraig, it means an All-Ireland Junior final will await them on the 25th of January against O'Carroll from Galway. It's brilliant times to be for Kilmurray, and the under-21s winning the B County Championship last month as well. It's a good time to be from the Muskery Club.
It is super for Kilmurry, and I suppose part of their story, the context is the heartbreak that they'd suffered in Munster junior finals before 2024. They'd lost two in a row, one to David Clifford's Fossa, and it was again Kerry teams that had proved the kind of the kryptonite to Cork when it came to this championship. But Kilmurry beating the Fireys, huge result, really big result for not just for Kilmurry, I think, but just for Cork club football, because it's probably I know it's a different conversation, Matthew, but just let's say the rankings of the teams going into these competitions, it's just not fair. It really isn't fair, kind of when you look at kind of where Kilmurry are in the Cork kind of pecking order to where Fireys would have been in Kerry. So for Kilmurry to do what they did to Fireys was a testament to the team that Cormac Linehan has there. And now the truth to an All-Ireland semi-final. And look at the excitement of Kilnamartyr last year getting to the All-Ireland club final. Huge for the club, huge for the whole area, and it'll be the exact same in Kilmurry right now. They'll be concentrating on the semi-final this weekend. Hopefully they'll get over the line there, and like they're into the business in now. The last four, they've taken out the Kerry team, so they shouldn't hold any fear of what's left in the competition.
Exactly. So, but Naomh Padraig, Ulster champions, it will be a difficult game. Obviously, they have a few Donegal seniors in that team as well, but it should be a very, very interesting game at the weekend. And hopefully, Kilmurry will get over the line and get to Croke Park at the end of January. We'll take a quick break now, and after the break, we'll discuss the first round of the Beamish Cup.
The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
So welcome back to the podcast, and it is the first round of the Beamish Cup coming up this weekend, Kieran. It is a competition that is esteemed in the history of West Cork soccer. Just for context for our listeners, what makes this competition so special in West Cork soccer?
It's the one everyone wants to win. It really is. The Beamish Cup just holds a very special place in the hearts and minds of West Cork League fans, supporters, players, managers, and like. The FA Cup is kicking off for, let's say, the bigger teams this weekend, but forget the FA Cup. Forget United beating Arsenal on Sunday 3 o'clock over in the Emirates Stadium. I think all the local attention will be on the various grounds around the WCL on Sunday morning when I think there's 3 preliminary round games and 5 first round games. But it's just such a great competition to be involved in, and it's the beauty of the cup as well. We'll have cup shocks, and I think that's what we like when it comes to the cup competitions. And Clonakilty Soccer Club won the Beamish Cup for the first time in 16 years last year. But if you go back to their first game, they only beat Clonakilty United 2-1, and they needed penalties against Drinagh Rangers B, I think, in the next round. So it just shows that anything can happen in the cup, and you've the big teams in there against the struggling teams from the championship and so on. But let's say for teams struggling in the championship, the Beamish Cup is a lovely distraction, and I'm thinking actually of Bay Rovers aren't a struggling team, like they're third in the championship, but they're away to Clonakilty Soccer Club on Sunday morning. They have nothing to lose, kind of go out there, no fear, and just see what happens. So here's hoping for a few shocks this weekend, and it will have a few giant killing stories, because I think that just adds to the magic of the Beamish Cup.
I know I might be a bit negative coming out with this now, but the final last year was Clonakilty Soccer Club and Drinagh Rangers, the top two in the league, obviously. Are we seeing a start of a dynasty between those two sides, possibly? Or was that just a blip last year, and could we see a shock team genuinely get to the final this year?
Well, no, I think last year they were the two best teams in the West Cork League, and just to look at the draw where they avoided each other, they met in the final. And even look at this year, you'll have those two teams, Clon and Drinagh. They're going to be battling now for the Premier. They'll be battling now for the Beamish. They're through to the Premier Division Cup semi-finals. They're on opposite sides. The Maybury Cup, they're through to the semi-finals as well. So they are the top two teams in the West Cork League at the moment. But look at Dunmanway Town over the last couple of years. They won 3 of the 5 previous Beamish Cups as well. So they were a really good cup team. Castletown Celtic have got to the last 2 semi-finals. Spartak Moscow got to the semi-final last year. Only lost to Drinagh Rangers, A team after penalties in that game. So it just shows that anything can happen in the cup. I know what you're saying about Clon and Drinagh. They are the two best teams in the league. But what's that to say they might meet in a quarterfinal or a semi-final, and that could throw it open then. So it's just I think that's why it's always interesting when it comes to a cup competition like that. Anything can happen, and that's why we'll be interested to see on Sunday where the shocks will appear.
Exactly. So, and it started off with the preliminary round games. Just to look at those, there's 3 preliminary round games this weekend. First of all, we have Ardfield against Dunmanway Town. Dunmanway Town, obviously, as you mentioned there, Kieran, have won 3 out of the last 5 Beamish Cups, and they have a stranglehold nearly on this competition, while Ardfield are sitting third bottom in the championship. The winner of that game beats Beara United in round 1. Mizen Hob A side will face Bunratty United this weekend as well. Mizen Hob are 4th in the championship, but Bunratty are 2nd from bottom in the Premier Division. So that should be a close tie there. The winners of that beat Loy Rovers in round 1. And Drinagh Rangers B face Castletown at the weekend as well. Drinagh Rangers B are currently fighting for survival in the Premier Division, while Castletown are 2nd from bottom in the championship. Baltimore await the winners in round 1 of that tie. So any ties in there in the preliminary round that you'd be looking at?
That Mizen Hob Bunratty game is quite interesting. Like you said there, Matthew, it's kind of a close one where like Mizen Hob are going well in the championship, kind of Bunratty are kind of involved in the relegation battle in the Premier. So and you're looking at Mizen Hob too. I was looking there. They've won 4 of their 6 home league games, and they've scored 19 goals in those 6 games, and they're also the 2nd top goal scorers in the championship with 31 goals. So that shows that Mizen Hob know where the back of the net are. So okay, they're coming up against a Premier Division team, but the fact that Mizen Hob have home advantage, does that even it out? Who knows? I think that could be an interesting game on Sunday morning.
Definitely could, no doubt about it. Looking at round 1, the first game on the sheet here is Drinagh Rangers, the finalist. Coming up, they have a home tie against Alta Celtic. Alta, just for context, are 4th from bottom in the championship. So, looking at the league positions, Drinagh are up near the top of the Premier Division. Alta are struggling in the championship this season. Surely it's an easy win for Drinagh.
You would think so, but again, I'm gonna harp back to kind of the beauty of the cup. Kind of who knows where the shocks will come. But you would fancy Drinagh, like you kind of it'd be a huge shock if Alta can pull off a win here. Kind of Drinagh have been they have been a top team in the West Cork League over the last 5, 6, 7 years. They've dominated. Then Clonakilty came along last year and kind of won the 2 big competitions, the Beamish Cup and the Premier Division. But Drinagh are currently leading the Premier, like they're through to the semi-finals in the other cup competitions as well. So you'd fancy them, Matthew, to kind of jump the first hurdle here.
Probably would. And I suppose another game to look at is the current champions, the current holders of this competition. Clonakilty Soccer Club are at home to Bay Rovers this weekend. This the Bay Rovers team that recently moved up to 3rd in the championship, so maybe momentum might be with them. Do you sense a shock here? I know Clonakilty Soccer Club did well to win the competition last year, one of the teams to really grace West Cork sport in many ways, but Bay Rovers have a chance.
Yeah, Bay Rovers have nothing to do is going over to Clon on Sunday morning. They've won the last couple of games. They got 8 goals in the last 2 games. I think it was Eli Reynolds got 4 or 5 goals in a game there around the Christmas period. But at home, Clonakilty Soccer Club have just an incredible record at the moment. Like, they just can't be beaten at home. When they won the Premier Division last year, they won every game at home, bar the final league game against Drinagh Rangers, which was a 2-2 draw. They haven't dropped. They'd 1 draw at home, I think, this year. But they're unbeaten in the league in Dara as well. So Bay Rovers have a chance because it's the cup, but Clonakilty are so strong at home. Like, it's kind of find it very hard to look past Clonakilty here in this game, and like they won't want to kind of surrender their cup crown at the first hurdle, but they'll know how difficult it is. Like, I made a point, and when they won the Beamish Cup last year, Clonakilty, they didn't beat any team by more than 1 goal. Including the final against Drinagh was 3-2, the semi-final against Castletown Celtic was 3-2 after extra time. The Bunratty was 2-1 in the first round. All these tight games all the way through. So it could be a tight game again on Sunday morning. But Clonakilty are starting to get their players back too. They beat Skibbereen there 6-1 around the Christmas period in the was it the Parkway Cup, and all 6 goals came in the second half. So it's kind of, they have that in their locker. They have goals. Kind of, they got 70 goals in last year's Premier Division when they when they won that, and they had a goal difference of plus 53. Like, they're a team that can score goals. So I'd fancy Clon there, to be honest.
And Clon will probably be the favourites for that game in general. An all Premier Division tie, which should be an interesting game, is Castletown Celtic against Togher Celtic. Castletown are near the top of the Premier Division and were semi-finalists in the last 2 seasons of this. And Castletown kind of sport in general has been reaching an all-time high over the last year or so. Togher have a chance though. They're in the same division. I know there are Premier Division relegation worries, but maybe this might be a welcome distraction to go well in the cup in this game.
Yeah, an interesting game. Like Castletown have been thereabouts the last couple of years, and they'd love to get to the final. Like I said last year against Clonakilty was a 3-2 home loss. They're going well in the Premier Division this year. They'll want to get their cup campaign off to a good start this weekend. These two teams were meant to meet last weekend, but the bad weather kind of called that off. So it'll be an interesting one. You'd fancy Castletown match, I think, just to kind of get off to a good start here. And I know I talked about shocks early on, and I'm not really kind of living up to that here because I'm tipping all the favourites to win the games. I'm erring on the side of caution, but I'd fancy Castletown here.
Yeah, definitely so. And look at the last 2 games at round 1, they're all championship ties, both of them. The first one is Alta Celtic B against Skibbereen AFC. Now, Alta have lost all 10 of their championship games and have a really poor scoring difference in general as well. Skibbereen they already lost to Skibbereen in the league, so Skibbereen will probably be favourites for that one. And Spartak Mosgrove, you mentioned that at the start of the chat here, and that Spartak were semi-finalists last year. They play against Skibbereen Celtic in this game. Spartak Mosgrove only lost on penalties to Drinagh last year, so they'll be desperate to make a final or another semi-final indeed in this competition. So are you expecting any shocks from those championship ties?
I'm trying to look for, like, you're looking at Alta Celtic B, like that would be a turn up for the books. Like, kind of, they've lost all their 10 league games. I think they've only scored 3 goals in those 10 games. They're the bottom club in the championship, so hence they're the bottom club in the West Cork League. The home to Skibbereen, like the pressure's off all to be here. Like, why not go out and try and cause that shock? Maybe the shock will come there. Like, the odds would suggest not, but who knows? Spartak, I think you want Spartak to go deep into any competition just for their social media kind of tweets alone. Kind of like sometimes they're as entertaining as the games. Sometimes their Twitter account is more entertaining than the games that they're playing. But for Spartak, semi-finalists last year did so well to get there. Skibbereen Celtic, that'll be a tricky game because they're both kind of close together in the championship. So that's kind of one to keep an eye on. You would think with home advantage, would that be enough for Spartak to get across the line? Then again, Skibbereen Celtic are a couple of places above them, so we'll have to wait and see. But I'm holding out hope that there will be shocks somewhere, Metro.
Hopefully there will be shocks somewhere along the weekend's games. Just before we get into the Beamish Cup preview, overall winner, Kieran, I know it's early in the day, but who are you thinking will win the Beamish Cup?
Well, I was going to say United will win the FA Cup. I don't know if you're asking me for that. For the Beamish Cup, well, that's a tough one. That really is a tough one. It's hard to look beyond, I suppose, a Drinagh or a Clonakilty. Dunmanway Town, yeah, they know how to win this cup. I'm going to say Clonakilty. I just think off the back of last year, and what they achieved and the confidence that's given them, I think that was a huge kind of psychological boost to win the Beamish Cup in the Premier for the first time. So I'm gonna slightly edge with them, but it's down to the look of the draw as well.
I'm going to throw a spanner in the works. I think Castletown Celtic might win it. Oh,
good call. They're so close and they're going so well. Kind of up out of the championship. I think they're second in the Premier at the moment, and they're that's a good call. That's a good call. I think once we get past this couple of rounds and we get down to the business end and we've those big teams left, we could have some huge ties. So Drinagh Rangers now will be listening to this bullying that nobody picked them. But maybe that's the motivation that they'll need. But Drinagh will be in the mix too. But Castletown, that's a good call, Matthew.
Exactly. Castletown, they've reached the last 2 semi-finals in the last 2 seasons. I feel like this could be their time. And you look at the way Castletown kind of sport is rising over the last few seasons. I feel like this could be their time this year. So we'll have to wait and see who wins the Beamish Cup. But it should be a very exhilarating season, no doubt about it. We'll take a quick break, final break now. And after the break, we'll look at what's in Thursday's paper.
The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
So it is that time of the week again, Kieran, where we look at what is in this week's Southern Star. So what is in store for our readers this week?
Yeah, it's only early January, but already the sport is packed and the sports scene is starting to pick up. So, Matthew, you've spoken to Anthony Hutchinson of Hamilton High School in terms of the Munster Senior Schools Cup in rugby. You also spoke to Paddy Lorden in the Hemis for the Corn Uí Mhuirí quarter-final. So a lot of Hemis content there for our Bandon followers. Also spoke to James O'Donovan, the Skibbereen ladies football manager, because the O'Donovan Russell ladies held their dinner dance last weekend, a celebration of their success last year when they won the county and Munster intermediate titles. So we caught up with James for his thoughts on the season ahead as they stood up the senior for the first time. Obviously, we have a big Beamish Cup preview in there. Talked to John Leahy from Clonakilty Soccer Club. We preview all 8 opening games this weekend, and Matthew has also spoken to Castletown Celtic, who've had a super start to the season. Really good story actually by Martin Walsh on Catherine Levi Shinners. She's a Bantry woman who has competed in rallies on 5 different continents. So it's just a really interesting story there. We also look at Paul O'Donovan, that rowing legend, and chart his perfect 10 because he's won 3 Olympic medals and 7 world titles. So that's 10 the perfect 10 for Paul. Also updates on what the Carberry Junior A and Junior A hurling and football championships might look like in 2025 and the years to come, because it looks like they're going to both be reduced in numbers in the years ahead. We have a Kilmurray preview in there. John Hayes is looking at the Cork football squad for the season ahead and telling us where he thinks the strength and depth is. Matthew, you rate Cork's football and hurling league fixtures, so we've a hell of a lot in there. And on top of that, on Thursday morning, we announced the West Cork Sports Star Special Achievement Award winner, and also the West Cork Sports Star Team of the Year for 2024, while also unveiling our guest speaker. So loads to kind of look forward to on Thursday morning.
It is only the start of January, but there is a lot for our readers to get their teeth sunk into this Thursday, no doubt about it. And as usual, if you are further afield or can't make it to the shops, you could subscribe to the Southern Star e-paper and get the Southern Star on your laptop, tablet or phone. Just go to www.southernstar.ie/subscribe, enter your details and you'll get an exact replica of the newspaper for less than €2 per week. As always, thanks for listening to the Star Sport podcast, and thanks again to our sponsors at Access Credit Union. If you've enjoyed this, please remember to rate, review and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll be back again next week. Until then, take care.